So every year, NAR, the National Association of Realtors, puts out its profile of buyers and sellers. And what it does is it looks at the data from the past year. So for this year, it's July 2024 to June 2025. And what it does is it breaks down the numbers. It looks at buyers, sellers, it looks at any trends that it sees emerging, and it reports on that. So what we found with this data here is that first-time buyers are having a hard time entering the market, and repeat buyers are really cashing in on their equity and outperforming first-time buyers. The first trend I see is that first-time buyers are at an all-time low, and repeat equity-rich buyers are at an all-time high. First-time buyers made up about 20% of all buyers from July 2024 to June 2025, and this is the lowest percentage it's been since the 1980s. And get this, the median age of the first-time buyer was 40 years old. The reasoning given for the late age of buying a home is high student debt and high rent. High rent, you can't then save money, and high student debt, your bills, your debt to income ratio is just too high. Rents used to be for people that needed to save money, and you could save money. There was a time when you could pay rent and you could save money. Nowadays, rents are just as costly as a mortgage. So, one, are you really saving money? And two, if you are, how much are you really saving? Enough to make a dent on a down payment of a home? It's kind of tough in today's market. Not only does this number surprise me, but the ramifications of an older generation buying a home really has an effect on the generational wealth that homeownership creates. So typically when you buy your home in your 20s, 30s, you have, 40, 50 years of creating or of generating equity in your home and really being able to pass down the earnings that the equity has created to future generations. If you're not jumping into the home buying pool until you're in your 40s, that's, 20 or so years less of equity that you have to build to then pass on to future generations. So this really has ramifications for future generational wealth. One solution to sort of fixing this problem is creating more homes so we're not in such a tight market. And home builders have started to sort of ramp up the home building. Now, way back in the early 2000s, 2008, 9, 10, 11, after the financial crisis that we all suffered, builders stopped building. And those years of minimal building has had a domino effect. We haven't been able to catch up to those years of minimal building. And we're seeing it today with lack of homes. The other thing I'm seeing is people are selling their home later in life. In fact, baby boomers, those people that are between the early 60s to later 70s, are the largest group of people to currently own homes. They're staying in their home, they are aging in place, and they're not selling. So they're not able to free up the homes that at one time would have been sold earlier. Also, people are staying in their homes later. This NAR report has shared that people are expected to stay in their home upwards of 15 years, where in the early 2000s, the average homeowner stayed in their home 6 years. So people are staying put longer. The NAR report also found that there are more cash buyers than there have been in years past. And I think it's because you're having more people who currently own homes making moves than you do first-time home buyers. Now, when you have a first-time home buyer who doesn't have the cash going up against an all-cash buyer, who's going to win? The all-cash buyer most likely is going to win. So those first-time home buyers really can't compete with the cash buyers. For first-time home buyers that are paying in cash, most of that is coming from savings, with financial assets being second and gifts from parents, family members being third. Another trend that I found somewhat disturbing is that there are fewer households with children buying homes. The latest data shows 24% of households with children bought homes in the past year, as opposed to 58% back in the 1980s. So there's been a pretty steady decline in households with children buying homes. Another trend that I found that I thought was interesting is the demographics of people buying homes. So 61% are married, 21% are women, and only 9% are men. I thought this was so fascinating because where are you men at? Why aren't you buying homes? And to be honest with you, I really don't have an answer for it. I don't know why women outnumber men when it comes to home buying more than double. If you have a theory as to why men are only at 9% where women are at 21%, put it in the comment below, because I have just been racking my brain why there is such a difference in this number. All right, before I go on, I just want to remind you that if you're finding any value out of this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, and certainly hit that subscribe button and click that little bell so you get notified whenever a new video drops. In this channel here, we talk all about real estate, living in the state of Massachusetts. We explore the different cities and towns that make up this great state. So if any of that is of interest to you, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Last data point I'm going to talk about, and that has to do with real estate agents. The past couple of years, there's been a big shakeup in the real estate industry, with major lawsuits changing how real estate agents do business with clients. And there were a lot of people that thought that real estate agents were going to go the way of the dinosaur. Well, according to this report, not quite yet. 88% of buyers said they used a real estate agent, and 91% of sellers said they used a real estate agent. Only 9% of sellers chose to sell their home on their own. And what we also discovered in this NAR report is that homes that were sold with a real estate agent sold for more money than homes that were sold without a real estate agent. The average sale price of a home with a real estate agent was $425,000, and the average price of a home sold without a real estate agent was $360,000. So even if you take away the commission paid to a real estate agent, whether it be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10%, at $425,000, you're still making more money using a real estate agent than if you sold it on your own. In a market defined by extremes, the most important thing to understand is that the playing field just isn't the same for every buyer and seller. And if you're a first-time buyer, the rising cost of a home and the higher down payment expectations means that you really have to be strategic when you're looking for a home. And if you're a first-time home buyer, you've never done this before. So you really need someone by your side who's experienced, who knows the local market, and can give you advice that you can utilize. And it may not always be the advice that you want to hear, but it's the advice that you need. For sellers, today's condition continue to favor those who price correctly and present their home well. With buyers staying in homes longer, they're looking for properties that feel move-in ready and that fit their long-term needs. And for anyone navigating the market, whether you're buying or selling, the data makes one thing clear, and that is having an experienced real estate agent by your side is crucial in selling your home for top dollar and buying your home for a fair price. Buyers that are well prepared have an advantage, and sellers who are well prepared are selling their home for top dollar. So if you are in the market to buy or sell in the next 12 months or so, reach out, let's chat. It's never too early to start the conversation. My name is Sarah Delacondro. I work in the greater Boston Metro West area. So if you are thinking of buying or selling in that area, let's connect. My contact information will be on this screen and in the description below. Like I said, it's never too early to start the conversation. If you want to learn a little bit more about what today's buyer and seller looks like, look for the link in the description. And like I said, don't forget to tell me what you think. All right. Thanks so much for stopping by, and we'll see you again soon.